Okay, today I'm going to give you a little story about this book. It's a law book, but that's not really the point of the story. Going back about a year ago, no actually definitely was a year ago, because I did a expedition. It was called World Challenge. I'll probably talk about it quite a lot due to the fact that I've got so many stories from it and it wasn't too long ago. The reason I'm going to talk about it because on a couple of days of our trip we had to take vans. Like, I booked the vans to take us from the capital city all the way to this little village. It's called Renchenlam. It's right near the Russian border, and it's about an 800-mile trip. And we stopped off at this hostel in this little town. I can't remember what the town was called. And I was not feeling very well. Let's just say, if you ever go travelling, you'll probably know what it is, and it wasn't a good sight. Basically, I was throwing up everywhere. Just put it that way. And yeah, I was just sitting at this table because everyone else was doing the stuff. I couldn't really do anything. I was like ghostly whiter than I usually am, and I was just reading this book, and I was reading it, and I had my a drink there as well. And then we said, "Oh, it's time to go." And I went to the toilet, came out, and just got straight onto the van because someone else said they would pick it up for me. Then about half an hour later, I said, "Have you got my book?" And they said, "Oh no, it's back at the hostel." And I was just like, that book's gone for good. And I was really getting into it as well. And like, we did our trek and our community project, which was helping rebuild a kindergarten. And it was about 2 weeks later. About 2 weeks later. And we went past this hostel again due to the fact they made really, really, really good egg on toast. I'm pretty sure it wasn't really good egg on toast, but compared to what we've been eating, just like really bad pasta and things like that, it tasted really good, and it's really cheap as well. So we went there. The surprising fact, there are no wild chickens in Mongolia. I thought that was quite interesting. So these people have some of the few chickens there are in Mongolia. And so we went there, and just out of curiosity, I asked the lady that owned it, because she spoke English, if she had seen my book, and she said, "Oh, come with me, come with me." So we went inside. I went inside her house. Went into her bedroom, but nothing like weird happened. But she had this bookshelf of all the books travellers had left at the hostel, because they'd either finished it or donated it to her, and my book was there, and I thought that was like really nice that she actually kept them, and that's how partly she learned English, improved her English through books. And so I actually gave her a little tip. I think it was about 2,000 tugrik in their currency, which is only £1, but but each eggy bread, it was egg on toast with a coffee, was 500 tugrik. So that would be 25 pence for that. And so that was actually quite a lot of money, but it wasn't a lot of money to me. So, and I was just being nice to her. Okay, my next little story is about cars, and, well, more specifically, the Soviet cars that Mongolians stole from Russia once the Soviet Union collapsed. And how, like, they're so unreliable. And because when I booked the cars, like, they had these trucks basically, and we decided there's not going to be anything better, so we might as well take it. And they were so uncomfortable, it was ridiculous. I still wasn't feeling well, so every time I fell asleep I kept bashing my head against the window, so I'm pretty sure I got like some sort of brain damage throughout the trip. And they just weren't comfortable, and there was like no because they're quite old cars, there was no power steering, and so every bump you felt, and our actual van broke down about 4 times in a space of about 2 days, and it was just a nightmare. Like, he went over this bump, like this rock, and it just sliced open the oil tank, and oil went everywhere, and we were like, there's no way this is going to be fixed. But excuse me, the phone is ringing. My apologies for that, that was the phone ringing. But I swear that every Mongolian is like a mechanic, because like, the moment the car broke down, they would like straight out and like repairing it, and it's like, how do you learn all of this? And like, the scary thing was, as we were going along the road, you'd see like bits of cars everywhere, of like these vans, and you like, what's happened to the rest of the van? It's the sort of like mentality you get. And because it broke down so many times, we decided on the way back we had to get a new one. And we, at this motel, this hostel I was talking about, they knew a person that could take us, and so she rang them, and this guy had like tricked out his van like to the full. It was so amazing. Like, I switched vans just because there was no room in the other van, and plus these seats were so nice. I could stretch my legs out, which I couldn't in the other car, and there was a speaker system throughout the whole car. There was like 2 subwoofers and like speakers all the way through, and it had a little knockoff TV screen that looked a bit like a PSP, like the old kind of ones. And we had music on for like the 3 days coming back, and that was just amazing. The funny thing is that I don't think he was aware of what he was singing, because as he's Mongolian, I wasn't sure if he knew English, and some of the songs that he sang along to were quite weird, because Mongolia is quite a homophobic country, and he was singing along to I'm Too Sexy for My Shirt. And so that provided us with a lot of amusement for the 3 days. And it's also why I don't like being in cramped conditions, especially in moving vehicles. And you'll find more about that in my next story. This is my 3rd little snippet of today, where it's more about my thoughts on the matter. And it's kind of the reason why I hate tight spaces in moving vehicles. I'm not necessarily claustrophobic, because I've done things like potholing and all of that, and I love that. But things like in a car, in a plane, I can't. It's very frustrating, especially on a plane. Like, I wouldn't say I'm that tall. I'm only 6'2", and I can imagine people who are taller than me have an even greater problem. But my legs are really long, so if I sit, no matter how far back I sit in my seat, like this in an economy class, is that my knees touch the front of the back of the person in front of me. So I'm forever kneeing the person in front, unless I'm able to stretch my legs out, which obviously I can't, because if I stretch my legs out, they go under the person in front seat into their area where they put their feet. So it's a constant battle between being able to relax and not annoy the person in front of me. And it's why I can't sit anywhere apart from an aisle. If I stick my legs out in the aisle and I'm asleep, which I don't generally sleep on planes, and the trolley comes past, they have to wake me up, which then gets me annoyed, because you don't want to wake me up. Like, if I wake up at like 5 in the morning by myself, I'll be fine. But if someone else wakes me up, no, I have a rage. And it's only why I prefer flying during the daytime, because it means that I don't have to sleep. So like, I can't sit anywhere apart from an aisle, and it's so frustrating because, like, no one else in my family has this problem. Everyone else is smaller than me. It's really annoying, and plus with my feet are size 12, so finding shoes that are fine, finding shoes that are comfortable is the first problem, and then B, especially on tight spaces, like, they stick out really far. For example, in the car when I'm driving, when I pull the clutch out, because my foot is so big, it sometimes gets stuck in the footwell, and that really frustrates me because then your clutch is halfway down, and you're still trying to push the accelerator down. And if anyone's from America, you probably have no idea what I just said. But that's just why I hate small spaces, because my legs are so long. It's really annoying, and they should really improve airplane food. Like, seriously. Like, I don't eat that much generally. Well, I eat bad things for me, but they should really improve it, because 3 times I've flown out of the past 4, there have been hair, not just a single strand, at least 2 or 3 in my food, and it's just disgusting. But they're my 3 little snippets for today. As always, my name is Josh Turner, and I'll see you next time.